Hi everybody, welcome to this Marvel Avengers Alliance video here on G4G. So, this is perhaps one of the most disappointing videos to ever do for Marvel Avengers Alliance, and basically it's the goodbye video. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to be producing any more content for the game. I will produce content for the game until the day that this becomes unclickable on Facebook. But I wanted to get this communication out to you guys now so that I was free to focus on some of the other content I have planned for the game before it wraps up, including an actual game footage kind of goodbye that might be an emotional tearjerker. I don't really know yet on that one, but this is a conversation video. It's a conversation video that I wanted to have with Napalm's army and discuss some things before this all wraps up. So, I'm Napalm Dawn, as you know. I grabbed this name back in 1998 or 99 as a first-person shooter name. And it comes from the quote, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning." Morning, dawn, there you go. That's where I came up with it. I was first introduced to my modern era of PC gaming actually at my job. The job that I worked at, if we met our quota that we had set up for ourselves during the week, teams would leave the floor and play computer games in the training room against each other. And that's when I was introduced to UT99 from Epic, which is actually here in the Raleigh area, and I've applied to jobs at Epic before. One of my earliest multiplayer FPS memories is lining up my own boss in the crosshairs of my sniper rifle on UT99 CTF face and deciding whether or not to pull the trigger. And I did, and I shot my boss. So that was the beginning of it all. What my channel was before MAA became a major source of content for me was I dealt with a lot of tech, a lot of mobile tech. Mostly rooting tablets, what to do after they're rooted, the actual root process on several tablets, Asus Transformers, Dell Streaks, the HTC Flyer, Nook, the Nook colors, which are very easy to do, the LG 3D tablet. There is actually a tablet out there that you put on glasses and the screen is in 3D and it records videos in 3D. It's kind of funny. There's only really ever been one, and I think the market is primed to do that kind of tech again, but nobody seems to be doing it. And I still get a lot of comments on those videos, especially the LG tablet and the Dell Streak is another big one, and it's very interesting. I use XDA Dev or XDA Developers as a major source for it, and I just tried to give back to the community and do rooting videos and everything like that so people had a source on YouTube that they can figure out. I covered a lot of game stuff. My biggest thing that I liked doing was getting access to betas, and after getting access to a beta, putting up footage on it if there was not an NDA in effect. And early on, I'm just plugging in a smartwatch over here. Early on, some of my favorite games to do those videos on was the Wrath of Lich King beta, Rift when it was in beta, Lord of the Rings Online when it first went free to play, Vindictus was a big one. My Wrath of the Lich King content has multiple thousands of views. And the exotic hunter pets, the new motorcycle with the sidecar. And that's what I initially focused on a lot of was, games when they were new, games when they were in beta and alpha. I actually got a content strike back then at the time. There was a game that had Bullet in the name of it. Not Bullet Storm, not the console game, but another game that was renamed. And when it was renamed, it had Bullet in it. And I was in that beta, and there was an NDA in effect, and I didn't know it, and I got a content strike at the time. So, Marvel Avengers Alliance drops. And how I found out about this game, and if you've been to my streams or paid attention to videos over the years, I've always relayed the story that I was watching X Play. They were interviewing what I'm pretty sure was Justin. He was talking about the beta for it. He said, I want to make a game for Facebook as epic as Final Fantasy VII was. And if you think about MAA, you can see the Final Fantasy influence along the way. Avengers Alliance kind of plays like 7 and some of the earlier Final Fantasies. Tactics played like Final Fantasy Tactics minus the height differentials. And Marvel Avengers Alliance 2 bore a striking similarity to Final Fantasy X. The timeline, you could swap people in and out. Swapping them doesn't put them in that character's spot on the timeline. It would cycle them. So if somebody dies, you get to pick somebody else from the reserves. So you can see where he probably has been a Final Fantasy player. So early on in my days of PvP, I mean, they're not good. You're like Human Torch versus Human Torch 20-minute battles. You probably had Captain America in there for a while, Iron Man. And after getting to a certain point, I was like, how do I get better at PvP? And that's when I first encountered the CJ Edwards videos and the Kingfisher videos. And probably what stands out as one of the biggest sources of, okay, time to think outside the box, time to do some of my own videos and stuff like that, was Black Bolt, his Black Bolt and Thing video, and saying that Thing was invincible in PvP and applying the Emerald Prism, and he said he wanted to do it as Black Bolt. To this day, I know there were some other content producers like the Inhuman Beatdown, which I really never watched any of his videos until somebody pointed out the video where he was just basically crying as to how hard it was to play the game, and he was thinking of quitting. This may be offensive to Inhuman Beatdown fans, but I think that's utterly ridiculous. I have been a World of Warcraft player since the beta of World of Warcraft. My guild's charter dates back to January of 2005, and we were actually on the server in 2004. It's just our first charter blew up. To be that upset over a game, causing you that much stress and everything, I cannot believe the ridiculous levels of upsetness he was in his video. And I'm coming from the perspective of being a guildmaster, being a raid leader, being a statue trophy winning WoW player. I have a statue on my mantle downstairs that Blizzard gave everybody for playing 10 years without taking a break. And I have that. And at around this time last year, and this kind of goes, this is important to Marvel Avengers Alliance, and you'll see why in a moment. Up until about this time last year, my guild, the WoW portion of my clan that does the guild stuff and everything like that, we raided steady from Molten Core up until about this time last year. A bunch of real-life scenarios. Took out some players. One of our guys was a cop, and he was responding to a disturbance call, which was a college party, and he walked in and was trying to break the party up. and he got put through the plate glass window of a bay window at this place. And so he had to go to the hospital and need surgery, so that took him out. Somebody was supposed to have a 3-week vacation, wound up being a 3-month vacation due to speeding in a construction zone. Even though the construction zone was bagged and not active because it was a weekend, they still got caught speeding there. And in the United States, if you were caught speeding in a construction zone, you have to go to court and you can't pay the fine. So they were like, rather than go all the way back home and then come all the way back here for going to court for this fine, we are just going to extend the vacation. So that took a player out. A guy that is in my guild that works for Cisco was constantly commuting between Raleigh and Charleston, and that was taking a toll on him. So we fell apart for the first time in our history. Cosmically, that led to what a lot of you guys know of me for the Marvel Avengers Alliance content. About a year ago, along with losing my job and freeing up my days, that's what started my ability to do the streaming. How the streaming came about is because I thought at the time that I saw something that needed to be done for Marvel Avengers Alliance. It felt like, at least as far as I knew, nobody was really streaming MAA content consistently. So I tested the waters and started doing it, and that's what led to the last year of MAA content that I was producing. Another thing that went into the factor is I was constantly hearing some of the similar criticisms of Kingfisher's video. Now, we've never been at odds with each other. It's never been one of those scenarios of I want to be different than KF, or I want to be quote-unquote better, or I want to beat him in PvP, or I want to beat him to the punch of the video, of new content and everything. I have had a little bit of an internal game with him as to who can beat each other to the content, like when a Spec Ops first comes out, or a new chapter, a new season, stuff like that. But it's all just been friendly. But what I was seeing a lot at the time was that people believe that his videos, especially for PvP, always seem to kind of be in a perfect world scenario. They existed in a vacuum. They didn't show the losses. They didn't show an idea going bad. They didn't show an ass-kickery against him or the weakness in a team. And I was hearing that a lot. And I was hearing it from people on the wiki that said he was like getting by on his armory and everything like that. And I was like, he's not really that gold buy-y in his armory. I mean, a little bit, but... And everything all just hit at the same point in time, between WoW taking up less of my time, my job not taking up my time, believing that now is a good time to start streaming, perhaps the community needs it. That is all what led to the last year of MAA content for me, and that was streaming as many days as possible during PvP seasons, bouncing ideas around back and forth on the stream, and then turning it into a video. The conversations that I would have with people where ideas would get refined. There was a comment once that I didn't have original content, that it was taken from one specific person, and at the time that I heard that, I was actually quite upset about that, and I've never agreed with that in any way, shape, or form. My content, if it comes from somebody else, credit is always given. And what starts the idea for something, credit is given there if it comes from outside me, like the last video with Elektra and Satana. part of the reason why that video exists is because of a friendly conversation between me and Antido, where he's really big on Thing and not a lot of people in the community are. And I mentioned Electra, and he thought Electra was awful. In that video, I misspoke and said Satana. I did not mean that. He believed that Electra was irredeemable. And I was like, oh, I beg to differ, and I can show you a team up that I can do with that. So that's how the last year has been for me. I've been a fairly active streamer of the game. I enjoyed doing that. I felt my niche was keeping it real. If you remember from the Dave Chappelle show, the keeping it real segments, I was out there during the streaming and everything completely naked. Not like naked, but emotionally and tactically and brain synergy wise naked. It was not scripted. If I misplayed, and there's a Hearthstone term that when somebody has lethal, it's the Hearthstone term for checkmate or check, really. It's when they have in their hand the ability to kill the opponent if they play their cards a certain way. And you see that in like Magic, and you see that in Hearthstone. If I had lethal on an enemy team and messed it up, there was no rewind, there was no do-over, there was no backing it up. That's what it was. If I got tilted or mad, tilted's become a very popular gaming term, but if I got ridiculously upset because of a bad RNGesus, or just like, oh my god, I've seen 15 of these teams today, I'm sick of it, you knew it. And it was out there, and it was raw, and I felt that was something different in our Marvel Avengers Alliance community. Did it hurt me at times? Yeah, there were one or two times where people were like, can you not get that upset? I was like, no. I mean, it's how I play the game. It's just because it was me. It was the keeping it real segment from the Chappelle show. I enjoyed that niche that I had in the community, and I want to thank, this is the part where I thank you guys, thank Napalm's Army, thanks the viewers for coming to these videos and providing input, for being incredibly positive about the content that I have produced. There was occasionally times where people were like, I didn't like this choice of music. But if you look at my videos, considering it's YouTube, they're not trolly. You don't look down and see in the comments like, why would you put this team together? They suck. Or, haha, you missed lethal on the enemy team and you attacked the agent and he countered you and your team died. Like, the streams were a fun place. I mean, there were people from India, people from the Philippines, people from Greece, people from the States, Brazil. I mean, everywhere people would visit the stream. People where English was a primary language, people where it wasn't. And I liked that community, and I always tried to play nice with From the Hellcarrier. From the Hellcarrier was streaming. I would not stream during their block. I did once by accident, and people were like, what are you doing? FTH is on. And I was like, ah, shit. And, I worked with them a little bit, and that I would host them, and the only time I was liked to conflict with them, if they were going to stream during the last hour PvP, it's like, sorry, I always do that, I'm doing it too. I can't bow to that. But, Tuesday from 4 to 5, my stream wouldn't be there in deference to them. Kingfisher started streaming towards the end there. And I will admit this, and I've told this to people in line chat, and I've been open about this. I was like, damn it, when he did that. I was like, this was my thing. This was the thing that I did. I was like, Look at me. I'm the streamer now. I'm the captain now. So when he was streaming, I was like, damn, that's the thing that I do. Like, that's my niche. But we had different times. We never really conflicted except for maybe like 1 hour a week or so. And I, hey, it was friendly competition. It was fun the whole time. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and believe any of the other content producers even know who I am. Antidote does, but I'm not going to say CJ knows anything about me or Kingfisher knows anything about me or from the Hellcarrier. Had the game been continuing, I think I was to the point where maybe I was going to approach FTH and offer to do a segment or something and kind of get involved in that. Um, I had always thought of that with a little bit of trepidation, knowing that, shit, whenever I get a job again, I'm going to be working during the cast. So I'm not going to be able to do this very long unless I do the record ahead of time stuff. So thank you guys for viewing the videos on YouTube. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the immensely positive reception the videos get. Thank you for visiting the streams. And honestly, that's what I do it for. I'm not doing it for the praise. I'm not doing it for the, oh, I use this team and it's great. Believe me, that makes me feel good. I for my job, for my life, I do support. I do IT support, tech support. I'm a supportive person for friends and everything like that. When somebody comes up to me and is like, I use this team, this is such a great idea, and it worked out well, that makes me feel good because that's like accidental support. You know, it's like, hey, I came up with something that somebody really likes and it's working out for them. It's not just a matter of they like it, they're actually using it effectively. And that makes me feel so good. And to all the people who've seen a team up that I've done, like Psylocke and Archangel, or any other team ups that I've come up with and have been like, yeah, I used that in PvP and it helped me this season. Thank you for letting me know. And you are so very welcome if I have ever produced any content in the game that has made a difference to you guys. That the videos weren't just about entertainment, they provided assistance. Because to me, that's what other people's videos were early on, like CJ and Kingfisher. I never sandbagged, so some of CJ's content didn't apply, but the out of the box thinking that Kingfisher did in that video of Thing and Black Bolt and everything, I certainly credit that as where I began my out of the box thinking for Marvel Avengers Alliance. Believe me, I already had that penchant in my brain. That's who I was prior to watching that video. My Magic the Gathering card collection will tell you that. The decks that I have rubber banded and in card protector cases and everything like that will tell you. I was like, oh, I bet I could do this with this card and this with this card. That's why losing MAA is going to hurt that part of my brain so bad. Nothing can replicate that. I don't know of games where, other than like Hearthstone and, Magic the Gathering physically, some of the Magic the Gathering online setups and everything like that. I was actually part of the Magic the Gathering online beta back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And they were giving away the decks and the boxes for free. Just you had a limit daily. And then, it started up and you had to pay. And I wasn't going to pay for physical cards and digital cards. But, I mean, other than Hearthstone, there isn't a game that I know of that is action and cerebral. This is chess. This is Marvel chess to a certain degree, except I can set the abilities on my pieces. If I don't want this rook to move that way or that way, I can make him move like a knight. But I mean, if you really, really think about it, this is out of the box, synergistic chess to a certain degree. And unfortunately, I don't know of anything that is like that. Not even Marvel Avengers 2 was really like that. Some, but not like this. Not with the nearly limitless gear that we had, and abilities, and the ability to change abilities, like make everything magic. That's great. Or the rectifier and the way that it works with energy. Or let's make everybody magical and energy and combine the rectifier and combine the crooked branch. Now they double heal the fuck on everything. Let's give them blessing, and now they're like quadruple healing. I'm going to miss that, and that is a huge chunk of my brain that is going to be missing. It's like looking at a jigsaw puzzle, and one whole corner of the jigsaw is going to be missing for me. So the next question is, where does the channel go from here? What will I be doing with my time? Well, a lot of the stuff that I was doing before MAA became the primary focus will still exist. It's going to be Heroes of the Storm stuff. It's potentially going to be World of Warcraft stuff. It is going to be games that I can get my hands on betas of, like Gwent. I've never played The Witcher. I don't know the first thing about Gwent, but a Gwent stress test is coming up. I don't know what my main thing will be. The way my main thing for several years now has been MAA. Potentially Marvel Future Fight. I am nowhere near as advanced in MFF as I was in MA1. And I don't mean that to sound arrogant or egotistical. I just mean, you look at my account when MA1 shutters, and you'll know what I mean. But, I don't know what will be that focus that generates videos per week. Like, the week in what? What is it going to be after this? The week in WoW? The week in Heroes of the Storm? Maybe. I mean, the week in MFF can't really be a thing because there is not new stuff to talk about. They have big content patches, and I do cover those, but one Friday in February compared to the next Friday in February, it's not going to be that much different. Marvel Contest of Champions, I'm sorry, I think they're a bunch of greedy fucks. I could look at maybe some stuff for Marvel Heroes. I mean, Marvel Heroes has a lot of stuff, but again, that's never going to be like a weekly thing. I could stream it, but I only have 160. I'm not in a super group. I don't raid. So, I don't really know. I don't have the answer for it. It's just going to be the variety that I've always done. Legacy Maiden of the Beast. That is definitely one that I am looking forward to. May as well use some gold. I'm just going to bomb these guys because, why not? Fucking dinos. Fuck High Evolutionary. Legacy of the Beast is a fun game. I've been holding off doing another video on that recently. There are things that I'm actually holding on to in the game to do it on video and put that out on YouTube. It's a fun game. I really recommend you guys get it on iOS or Android. I always used to play Fallout Tactics, sometimes even during the stream. But again, that's not something I can routinely produce content on. That's just, oh, hey, a big update, a new room, a new dweller, So I don't really have an answer for you guys on that one. I don't think there is a one game I'm like, hey, everybody, follow me over here. In all honesty, if I had to pick a game that I have somewhat access to, it'd have to be Hearthstone. But the Hearthstone community is incredibly robust and clogged with very active streamers and YouTube producers and content producers. And it requires quite a lot of money to be good and competitive in that. Um, so I don't really know. But then again, we are giving up $50 to $100 every month in MAA if you were getting the gold sale. So $50 in Hearthstone does go a long way. But thank you guys. Continue to watch the videos that I produce until the game becomes unclickable, as I said. But thank you, viewers, for getting me up to 1,000 subs. Thank you for generating views in the multiple hundreds, even the thousands. Thank you for the comments. I mean, most especially, not just the raw views, but the starting interaction with me, like, yes, I like this idea, or change this, or you fucked up here, try that. Thank you very much for making my streams interactive and my content on YouTube interactive. Uh, Thank you to the MAA trailblazers before me, CJ Edwards and Kingfisher and Inhuman Beatdown and anybody else I missed. Thank you from the Hellcarrier for constantly streaming and being a good pulse on the community. And from the Hellcarrier was very varied from the noobish to the super pros. Just a great fireplace chat to be. Thank you, Marvel, for all the ideas that you've worked with this game about. You may not want to hear this next sentence, but thank you, Playdom. Thank you, Playdom, for the years of fun in this game, for covert ops, for spec ops, for new heroes, for trying to get rid of hackers in PvP and everything. Thank you for gold sales and very interesting gear. You didn't always get it right. You got it right a lot of times. My one fuck you is fuck you for abandoning the mutants. I gotta be honest on that. I can't completely kiss your ass. You abandoned mutants with Cannonball, and I really miss that. I like the mutant universe, and I tend to gravitate towards games that still have access to it. That made me sad, and that is a big sticky point with me. But if you're following Marvel and you can't touch the other things, I understand, but I still hate that decision and that swerve off to the left over there. But thank you for great seasons of PvP, the competitive nature of it. Thank you for MA2. It was a try. It was a fail. It may have even been a big enough fail to ruin both games for us. But thank you for that game. I liked it. I enjoyed it visually on better tablets. I always praised the sound of that game. I thought it was fun. My one fuck you there is fuck you for allowing PvP to sometimes be a battle of one-shots, especially when you turn 30. Thank you for trying to produce content for that game. Fuck you for the giant disparity between when some of the world had it and when all the world had it. Fuck you for Marvel Avengers Alliance-Tactics, that miserable pile of shit that game was. I'm sorry if that offends Tactics fans, but I did not have a good experience with that game when it went live. But, you know, thank you, Playdom, for years of this. I'm not going to be that guy who sits there and say, hey, all the money, I should play it so much, it's going to be so hard, it's like my cat died, and I probably won't even do that about WoW, and I know I won't do that about WoW, because it basically took almost a year vacation of it. So, if WoW doesn't make me feel that way, in all honesty, Marvel Avengers Alliance isn't going to make me feel that way, but there is a huge chunk that is going to be missing in my life when I can't play this game anymore, and I don't have a replacement. But Before I go, I'm going to get a friend. I have somebody else that you guys can say goodbye to. My name is Arthas, the Death Knight Cat, the mascot of the channel. My stream guest sometimes. If you've never seen Arthas the Cat, here he is saying goodbye to you guys. He might be a mix. He looks Russian blue enough for me to count him as a Russian blue. He has been my trusty companion for almost the entirety of my Marvel Avengers Alliance life. He came about a year afterwards, so you guys get to say goodbye to him for a little while until we all decide upon something else to play and watch and stream and everything like that. But my recommendations, guys, get into MFF, Marvel Future Fight. If you're a little bit of a mobile player, really try Heroes of the Storm. I would love to build content around Heroes of the Storm tremendously. If you're a first-person shooter, give Overwatch a try. If you got access to good mobile devices, really give Legacy of the Beast a try. You don't have to be an Iron Maiden fan to love that game, but if you are an Iron Maiden fan, you will absolutely love that game. I really like it, and it's probably one I might be doing some content on for the channel. So, until the end of Marvel Avengers Alliance at the end of this week, guys, Napalm Dawn, peace and out. See ya.